greater sacrifices than before.
The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is to draft. Draft and draft and draft. People of Ambazonia, draft.
Why the war draft is a must now. Fellow Ambazonians, after 5 years of relentlessly fighting for the liberation of our homeland from the genocidal occupation of French Cameroon, it's very important that we remember why we are fighting and why it's so absolutely necessary that we continue to fund the struggle by joining the war draft and making even greater sacrifices than before. When the United Nations General Assembly in Resolution 1608-XV of April 21, 1961, granted independence to the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, they did not expect that 61 years after, this territory will be forcefully annexed and colonized by a belligerent neighbor. It must be noted here that the territory of the Southern Cameroons had already attained self-government as early as 1954, a status we enjoyed up to 1972, when the state of West Cameroon, Southern Cameroons, was illegally annexed, overrun and occupied by French Cameroon. And because the Southern Cameroons within secure internationally recognized boundaries, she had a functional police force under the direct command of the Prime Minister and head of government, including a mobile paramilitary wing that played the role of a territorial self-defense force. It was this vibrant territorial force that was illegally and surreptitiously disbanded by the Yaoundé regime in the mid-60s, when our nationalist leader and head of government of the Southern Cameroons, Bobe Augustin Ngom-Dua, was overthrown by the creeping annexationist regime of Amadou Ahidjo. So as we enter another patriotic war draft and fundraiser for our violent restoration forces, we must remember that just as we restored Dr. Ndele's government on October 1st, 2017, we are also restoring our territorial self-defense force, now dubbed the Ambazonian Restoration Forces, ARF. Charged with not only the defense of our country and our nation, but also with driving out for once the occupation forces of genocidal Cameroon. Taking part in the war draft for our Ambazonian Restoration Forces is therefore a great patriotic duty that we must all embrace. As we speak, the country of Ukraine is under attack, with parts of her territory occupied by the Russians. We have seen how the Ukrainians have risen like one man to defend their territory, instituting a war draft that has prohibited men from the ages of 18 to 60 years of age from leaving the country. Not only are they not allowed to leave the country, but they're also compelled to take an active part in the defense of their country against the occupying forces of Russia. This is the same patriotic fervor that we expect from all Ambazonians now in fulfilling our sacred duty of defending and freeing the motherland from the genocidal grip of Cameroon's occupation forces. Thousands of our young men and women have risen since 2017, picking up arms and fighting the occupation forces to the death. We've lost thousands with many more injured, while thousands more are in the bushes fighting day and night to drive out the occupiers. It's therefore imperative that those of us, especially those in the diaspora, that are not confronting the enemy on the ground play our part and fulfill a sacred duty of drafting, raising the funds, and providing the logistics that our restoration forces need to resist the occupiers. Fellow Ambazonians, joining the draft and contributing generously is not a matter of choice for any Ambazonia, but a sacred duty to oneself, family, and the nation. They say sacrifice makes gods of men, makes us sacred, so let us do our duty now. Our President, His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, and the Resource Mobilization Department will be visiting each and every county soon for another round of the draft. Based on the current geopolitical atmosphere, this is a time for us to empower our restoration fighters on the ground to achieve some of our key strategic and military goals to once more prove to the world that we are ready to not only reclaim but to defend our country after liberation from any future aggression. By building a formidable, responsible, and credible self-defense force, Amazonians will be proving to the world that we are a responsible state and ready to play a constructive role in the Gulf of Guinea. The rest of the world is watching and waiting to see how capable Amazonians are in terms of establishing themselves as Africa's newest state. We must therefore make even greater sacrifices in our efforts to upgrade our valiant restoration forces as they lay their lives on the line to liberate Amazonia. As a footnote, we must remember that it costs between 3,000 US dollars to 5,000 US dollars to properly equip each restoration fighter to effectively engage the enemy. So as we look up to our boys on the ground, expecting results from them, we must first ask ourselves how far we've gone to empower them. We must first ask ourselves how much financial sacrifices we have made to provide them the means to fulfill their sacred duties. Fellow Amazonians, this is the time for us to draft until we drop. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions. Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day while our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers? Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort while our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the front? Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communications equipment to maximize their efforts? Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics? Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game-changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy? On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country? Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means to carry out some of the critical intelligence and other special operations across the national territory? Fellow Amazonians, as we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Amazonia die as a wish, because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting of a great people. Fellow Amazonians, the war draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No great victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices. We are enough, so let's draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depends on that.
Fellow Amazonians, ladies and gentlemen, I want to first of all apologize for starting a little bit late with our first broadcast. The Undaunted News this evening. We had a break in transmission. I would like those who are watching me on social media right now to let me know through your comment section if you can get my sound correctly. Remember, this evening we're having an exclusive discussion with the Speaker of the House, of the Interim House of Representatives. So just let me know if you can hear my sound. Just let me know, and I will be right back. I'll be back with you just after the break. Just let me know if you can hear my sound. I want to know if the sound perfect. Someone said the sound is excellent. Thank you very much. We are going to have an unusual conversation with the Speaker
of the Interim House of Representatives this evening on the pertinent issue by celebrating, first of all, the enthusiasm of Amazonians to draft and to draft so bigly. And the interim House Speaker will be responding, or should I say, countering some falsehood rhetorics that Coopers are trying to resurrect or construct, trying to buy for themselves some aspect of legitimacy. The House Speaker has chosen that at this very critical time, we will have to put some things straight. We will dig back into our constitution, the evolution that has taken place in our struggle from 2018 into today, and we will have a very long conversation tonight. The House Speaker has particularly indicated that she would like to receive calls from the home front. Particularly, she wants to talk to the people. If you have any worries as per what the Coopers did, if you are concerned with whatever thing Coopers did, today is your day. Today is the day to speak to your own servant, Dr. Winnie Lobati. I will be right back just after the break. Stay tuned, please. Once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Amazonians. Welcome to this very important broadcast with Dr. Winnie Lobati, the House Speaker of the Amazonian Interim House of Representatives. Today, we are going to be talking about Award 2022 or Award 22 launch. That was a huge success over the weekend. You've seen the ambience all over social media. Amazonians are jubilating. Amazonians came out aggressively in huge numbers, donating in hundreds and thousands of dollars, hard currency. Many Amazonians opted to double, triple, quadruple their, their draft for this year. This is the third draft that is masterminded by none other but the strategist, President Samuel Ikome Sako. What an amazing turnout on Saturday. You saw it. It was not all about what some would want to call audio money. No, we saw Amazonians, humans that we know, coming out strong, donating, paying cash, sending us screenshots. We all saw the screenshots. We were jubilating. Prior to the launch of the draft, from every LGA and county, Amazonians had already drafted more than 100,000 US dollars. That was before 8 p.m. that the draft officially began. By 9:10, when the president and House Speaker were already addressing the House, you could feel the energy, you could feel the animation coming in from every arm and tier of government. Amazonians giving and giving. Some even said the money is our money. We're working this money because we want our people to be free. You just watched Undaunted News and you heard the Speaker of the House telling you the reason why we must draft. She told you that she wants an Amazonia where our own progenies, our own people, will enjoy the beauty of democracy, peace, and prosperity that exists in the United States of America. We saw visionaries, we saw stakeholders coming to give and to give big. The question is, why are they giving big? These are some of the reasons the House Speaker will be presenting to you this evening. Why were Amazonians just donating? Why are Amazonians, in spite of naysayers, evil practitioners, trying to blackmail, false accuse? Why are Amazonians passionate? Why do Amazonians trust this one man? I'm talking about President Samuel Sako. Why do Amazonians give? Why is this man just bringing big things to Amazonia? Why does he have the grace to raise money? How did it start? I always like to get you back to memory lane, to history. This is not a history we're going to be reading in the books. This is a history we are singing. This is a history we are living. This is a man who has broken every record in the history of Amazonia. When he came into office in 2018, he told us it is a time for self-defense. He did not just start and end there. He went ahead to present to us a framework how to do it. It was my trip to Boya. For the first time, Amazonia, in their quest for freedom, donated and raised monies close to millions of dollars. I'm talking about hard currency. I'm not talking about CFA francs. Amazonia, for the first time in their history. You must understand that prior to the resurfacing or the surfacing of President Sako, we've had leaders. These leaders have mobilized resources. We've had them in their numbers. You can call their names. I don't need to call it for you. Some did so through fraudulent means and they have never accounted to anyone. And you know them. I'm not going to call their names. But President Sako, for the first time, showed Amazonians that you can raise money and you can raise big money. And while you raise big money, you can also be accountable for it. President Sako did not only raise money, he raised money with a strategy to win Cameroon, to beat them out of our territory if they will not submit. You heard Dr. Tita Saturday evening. At that time, Amazonians had already donated more than 100,000 US dollars. You had Dr. Tita telling the world, telling the French Cameroon that Dr. Sacco has given to them an olive branch. And that sounded like some joke. It sounded like some poetry, but it is reality. Last year, you saw what happened. In Gorkitunja, there was popcorn. In Dian, there was popcorn. In every county and LGA, there was popcorn. Not because of Chris Arnus, not because of the man in Norway, not because of whoever you want to say, but because of this one man who came and changed the game, the ground game. This man who was not just talking self-defense on the social media, he executed it, implemented it on the home front. Like never before, Amazonians' integrity in the world of nations has been restored because of a man who believes that we can win and we can win big. Have you heard some say that is an audio money? Have you heard some say it is propaganda? Oh yes, Mr. Arnus, it is propaganda. The same propaganda that mobilized 135,000 US dollars, and then you swindled it and came and told them it was all a scam. Yes, Mr. Arnus, it is propaganda. The same propaganda that has a savings in the national treasury, about 200,000 US dollars, and you and your Arnus coopers are hunting and doing everything to swindle. Yes, again. Yes, Mr. Arnus, it is propaganda. The same propaganda and propagandists that raised huge sums of money, and your brother Oliver has now gotten for himself plantations in Lebialem instead of fighting to win the land for his people. Yes, Mr. Arnus, it is propaganda. The same propaganda that made it possible for your brother to receive just about 8 weeks ago 2 million francs CFA. Yes, Mr. Arnus, it is propaganda. The same propaganda from the propagandists that made it possible for your legal fees to be paid when Satlai was about picking you like a rat. Yes, Mr. Arnus, it is propaganda. The same propaganda from the propagandists who made it possible for you to have a studio in Texas, who made it possible for you to hijack a console. Yes, Mr. Arnus, Uncle Arnus, Oga Arnus, it is propaganda. Propaganda from the propagandists who made it possible for you, Arnus, to have a face in a struggle. At your old age, you were a journalist never known anywhere in the world. Yes, Mr. Arnus, it is propaganda. The same propaganda from the propagandists that will make things happen big on the ground. The same propaganda from the propagandists that has made Cameroon to bow down and to bow down flat. Yes, Mr. Arnus, it is propaganda. Fellow Amazonians, ladies and gentlemen, this is the propaganda that will kick Cameroon out of Amazonia. This is the right propaganda for a war like ours. The propaganda that has restored our dignity like never before. Yes, Mr. Anu. Yes, Coopers. Yes, Cameroon. This is the propaganda we are talking about. The propaganda, if you do not take the olive branch, we will beat you out of our national territory. This is the propaganda we are talking about. This propaganda, Amazonians have decided that this year they will do at least quadruple of what they have done or they have ever done. You have not seen anything yet. What you saw on Saturday was just a debut. What you saw on Saturday was an avant-garde. What you saw on Saturday was just a glimpse of what Amazonians are willing and are ready to do. Right after the break, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Amazonians, I want you to chew what I just said about the propagandists. It is a bubble gum that has lost its taste. Forget about Coopers. Forget about Anus Christopher. Forget about him. He's a waste of his generation. He's a waste of his own life. Forget about him and let's make progress. We're talking to a very important guest, and that is the House Speaker, the Speaker of the Interim House of Representatives, who is going to be talking to us now just right after the break. Now, listen to me. If you're watching on Facebook, you're watching on YouTube, tell somebody we're live. Share it on every platform, share it in every group, because tonight we'll be cracking down some truths that you have wished to know. Stay tuned.
The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with undaunted ABC Amber News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution on Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amber TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
to inform the misinformed and disinformed with undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing it to the news untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amber TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the importance of storytelling can never be overemphasized, Ambazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Ambazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambertv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a club member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team.
Good evening, Madam Speaker. If you can hear me, just say hi to your people.
Hi, can you hear me?
I think so.
Great, thank you. Since you said I should say hi to my people, I will. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, fellow Ambazonians, comrades, home front, those who are there, those in, I always say ground one to ground infinity. Welcome on the show. Paddy, thank you for having me here today. And I hope we have a wonderful time to interact, talk, educate, inform, and promote Ambazonia and promote our cause. Thank you.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I must say that you are an amazing personality, indeed an amazing lady, a brave fighter with so much passion to fight for your people. And during critical times like this, you always want to talk to them. In spite of what naysayers would want to say, you are willing at all times to fight and to talk for these people. Tonight you're here because we understand some demented Confucianists have resurrected a discussion that has been well handled. You're here tonight because on Saturday, the peoples of Amazonia looked into the eyes of the international community, looked into the eyes of their suffering people in the dungeons of Cameroon, looked into the eyes of the crying mothers and babies in Nigeria, and said, listen, we are ready to free you from this carnage, from these decades of slavery. Amazonians came out in their numbers, in their hundreds and in their thousands of hard-earned dollars, and put together about 445,000 US dollars within 4 hours. Prior to that time, Amazonians had already started donating. The preposterior statement was made by a large-mouthed so-called journalist, and it provoked them to double, to triple, and to quadruple their giving. You and your husband, Dr. Lobati, have been a part of this crusade for some years today. You're not just talkers, you're stakeholders. You're not just noisemakers, you're involved with your life, with your talent, and with your money. I want to take it straight away. Madam Speaker, what is your motivation? Why do you get so involved? Why will you give and give in your thousands? Every year you give in thousands, not one, not two. Why? Talk to us.
Thank you, Paddy. But let me take the time, first of all. I want to thank every Amazonian and even friends of Amazonians that on Saturday came out just for the lunch of the award 2022 to really support us and take us to another level. Remember in my speech, I said, I feel like it's Christmas time with the excitement. I could feel that excitement in the air. And really, my spirit was not lying. At the end of the day, it was like we had a Christmas feast where we went around, maybe visited aunts and uncles, our grandparents, and we ate and we were happy and okay, hopefully not the upset stomach, but that's how it felt. It felt like Christmas was in Amazonia. That's how I felt that day. So I want to thank everyone for doing that. Back to your question, why am I involved? The reason I am involved is we as human beings have been given the right by the Almighty God, not just a right to exist, but a right to thrive, which comes along with rights that are protected to live, to have freedom of expression, to have freedom of actualization and self determination, and freedom to choose with whom we want to associate. Therefore, that freedom, which had been stripped, most of those rights were stripped away from our people in Amazonia. And thanks be to God, some of us were privileged of traveling out and being in diaspora where we could see things differently from a different spectrum. Our history was hidden from us, so we never really knew what we had lost, what our parents and grandparents had enjoyed that we lost. And we only grew up in this tense atmosphere where you could not say any one word against the government because you never knew who was around. So I want to see us have all that freedom. Every Amazonian child should be able to go to school, should be able to have free healthcare. Every mother who is pregnant should be able to go to the clinic and not be taxed with some money and say they couldn't go for prenatal care because they had no money. I want to see us enjoy. We are a rich people culturally, spiritually, and economically. So why can we not sustain our own economy, political systems, and as well as run our country the way God meant for us to do. That's why I am involved in this, and I have been involved. Paddy, let me tell you, my involvement with the little knowledge I knew went as far back in the mid 80s when the education system that Damjoya tried to change. Uh, Interestingly, that was a seed because the teachers and the lawyers came out. I was on the streets. Didn't want our education system changed. And thank God, up to this day, it has remained what it was, what we inherited from the British um, um, educational system. Paddy, that's why myself and my family were heavily involved. Thank you.
That's that was an amazing one there. I was listening as you were speaking, and I didn't even want you to stop. Now you have tackled the first question, which is why you're involved. Now, in spite of all the blackmail, you have the Kondingi, the scoopers at the time of Milan Atom. When they failed to get their way, the fabricated stories with the help of Tabanyam and many others blackmailed this one man, tried by every possible means to incriminate him. It didn't end there. They went along, they went with our money. You've had some activists, individuals who, out of lofty thinking, thought that they can call themselves activists and they can say anything. They can speak for Amazonians and dictate to Amazonians, have done all they can to blackmail this same man. They have failed. Tabenyang and his crew and Kondengi failed. Activists tried and failed. Now I fast forward to our recent times. The new generation of amateur bandits tried to blackmail this same man. With all attempts, the man came out this time so strong. I'm talking about the President of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, Dr. Samuel Ikomesako, and told them, eyeball to eyeball, okay, this time around, I'm ready to face you. Get your evidence, document them, notarize them. Let's take it from there. And like a scandal, they went mute. After a while, they sought to fabricate evidence just so that they can please their victims, their vulnerable viewers. The evidence didn't work for them, didn't work for them. They purportedly impeached. And today they themselves are telling Amazonians, hey, this impeachment was not out of facts or verifiable information. It was based on hatred. That is the interpretation of Dr. Eppers and the other demented Confucianist statements. But that notwithstanding, Amazonian stakeholders, not noisemakers, still would like to donate their hard-earned money to fund the vision of this individual, including yourself on this platform. Saturday was the answer of every naysayer and doubting Thomas. My question to you, perhaps that could be the reason of many of the hundreds of Amazonians and thousands of them scattered in every continent of the world, believing and donating to fund this vision. Why do you believe so much in this individual in spite of the dark clouds? Talk to us, please.
Let me put it, let me start this way. Ambazonia is bigger than myself. Ambazonia is bigger than President Sako. Ambazonia is bigger than Paddy, and it's more important than us as individuals. but very important to all of us collectively. Therefore, you've just listed a whole litany of, let me call them road bumps and speed bumps our way to Boya. No individual and no one person is going to put any speed bump along the way that will stop us from getting to Boya, because our rights and our freedoms are not really, technically, they are not guaranteed by human beings, but it's given to us by our Creator. And therefore, He Himself orchestrated that we get there. You mentioned quite a few things where accusations, counter accusations. Let me say, I am not going to stand here to say I'm going to defend the president. What I would say is, let the evidence speak for the president. It is more powerful than me alone just standing here to say, oh, the president did this, or the president didn't do that, or the president is guilty of this. The evidence, the first one I would mention, my trip to Boya. My trip to Boya came out. The fast, for those who were not stakeholders and who didn't want to talk, contribute, they all had their, oh, President Sako did this, President Sako, my trip to Boya. And I still hear some of those noises up to date. And there was an internal audit that was performed. That internal audit revealed where and how the money went, not necessarily to its final details, how it was spent, but who was allocated what percentage of the funds that were collected through my trip to Boya, and who had what, and who refused to present themselves for that audit. And it was, at that time I was in the Defunct Restoration Council, and what happened is that report was brought to the House. But I'm glad for one thing, that President Sako decided to publish that report. People were worried, scared, but he was a visionary. So he decided, and of blessed memory, Pashe, he was the one who gave us how the process happened and what happened, and some recommendations that came out of that, which was including having a controller general and separating some things or some departments and making a national treasury, came out of some of those recommendations post my trip to Boya internal audit. That spoke for itself, and there was nowhere there. If you want to even blame anybody, Paddy, you would look at those who specifically were given last chunk of money besides the legal, because we had a big chunk of that money go into the legal part of the struggle for our comrades who were picked up from Naira Hotel, some of our comrades who were picked up from Homefront and were scattered all over different jails in La Republique, and our lawyers had to go defend them, and as well as some of the lawsuits that were brought up in Nigeria, which we won that case in Nigeria. So a lot of chunk of that money went for that. There were other things that the money went towards, and some individuals who were allocated some big chunks for certain projects, which up to date, I'm yet to see those projects materialize. And not to say who they are, they know themselves, because they took that money and people will not want to name names, but it's public knowledge, my trip to Boya. Moving on, fast on, moving on to the recent series of events that happened, that led to the Restoration Council, defunct, as I may say, a committee, and the Restoration Council ascribing unto itself emperor powers and bringing up trump up charges that when they couldn't prove it. Let me backtrack. When some of these, let me kind of put them this way. When people get hearsay gossips and they start bringing them for investigation, there is a difference with a whistleblower and just having a gossip. Whistleblowers are meant, like for those of us who are in the US, so if you see something that is problematic and you cannot get it resolved through who you need to, then there are other authorities that you can bring those um, issues to, especially when it comes to violation or extortion of government fundings. So some of those gossips that were may have been put or placed and they were directed to a certain committee chair, and she took it and went really haywire wire with it. Some of those things could have been issues that were not even within her construct to investigate, but rather to refer them to like the ethics commission if they were of ethical behavior. And some of them were things that were just trumped up trumped up. The reason I can say they were trumped up was because when these things started coming and they say we have evidence, and if you hear it, it will be you will be shocked and you will you will not want to even stand it, and you will want to see President Sako out of here like yesterday. I said, fine, well and done. Some of the things you're already leaking them on the social media. People are hearing them. They're talking about them. So guess what? He has already extended his willingness to have those evidence that they said they had notarized, bring it so that it's not just him also in a wild goose chase of exposing himself. That never happened, and unfortunately, the the violation of the house procedures by the Restoration Council got them into a place where they found it difficult, except for those who had, like I will borrow the words of Dr. Tita, um, a an enterprise of hate and lies. So it got them into that place and they had no way of backing out. And so they move on. You don't impeach people, remove them without no, you it can investigate things without necessarily. There were as in-house leadership. I had so many investigations that we did in the background. They never made it to the public the way this one was handled. Granted, some of the people who were in those committees that were doing those things really technically violated their oaths because they did not know how to handle themselves, how to follow the house procedure. And you cannot, as a committee or as a group of people in the legislative body, hold evidence and then you want the house to come and sit in that house and be there and just listen to you, and you say, on this my tablet, here is the evidence, and nobody sees it. You can't do that. It's unacceptable. It will be no different from La Republique. It will be just acting just the same way as La Republique. Our law, the law that we have, states you are not guilty until you're proven. It's not unlike what the other people say. You are guilty until you prove yourself innocent. No, you are innocent until the accuser proves you guilty. But that was not the case. So I had talked about this in the past extensively and about the unconstitutionality that occurred. Many people will say, let me debunk one here, that President Sako dissolved the House. No, a subcommittee of the Restoration Council, you try to usurp the authority of the president and the authority of the county and LGHs. So literally, they ascribe unto themselves power and authority that was not granted to them in the Constitution. In so doing, they created kind of an anarchy situation, chaos in the government, which many of them fail to see that today. Let me debunk something else that people are going to say, which is what some of them talk about me and say, oh, yeah, you said when President Sako took office, he was given 2 years. And I was on a show with Barrister who said, no, the House doesn't have the authority to put electoral process or conduct election. Going back when the office of the president was vacant by the fact that former President Julius was removed by the House, and now we had an acting president, there had to be a process. And because now we did not have the acting president was acting on his behalf, so he is out. So he is not
Doctor
considered.
Doctor Lobati, Doctor
Yes,
Lobati,
yes, sir.
you are taking it too quick. I want our people, as they're listening to us, to digest everything you're saying tonight, step by step. So let me
Okay,
take you a little bit back. Let me take you a little bit
okay.
back. What we're going to get to debunking this insensitivity of the so-called government unit of the defunct deleted restoration council. This is what I want us to talk about. From your explanation this evening, bringing to question or to surface our legal system or what we are at least adopting, you're saying that the rational minds, the stakeholders, the people in concern, donating their hard earned to fund this vision are those who have examined the situation and made informed decisions. Am I correct?
You are accurate.
Wonderful. So we can now make progress, Amazonians. You've heard from a rational thinker, not just a demented Confucianist. You've heard from a woman that has proven beyond reasonable doubt that she has high integrity. You've heard her give reasons why hundreds and thousands of Amazonians globally, in spite of attempts by some failed politicians, enablers, and blackleg scoopers, coupus, coupists are trying to do. They have just discovered that at the end of the day, they are not the majority that they claim they were. In their Zoom meetings where they're trying to beg for some monies to pay for legal fees, pretending to have it for our boys, they have less than 50 people. And even in the 50 people, I'm told by some of our secret intelligence report that the few dollars they donated, Mr. Anus and the scammer in Germany are already fighting who to take what. So where is Marianta to even give orders? We're not going to get into that today. One of these days we'll get into that discussion. But now, let's move on into something really important. The House Speaker was already giving to us snippets of it. Someone brought to my attention a resurfacing of what we have already handled. Paraphrasing the talk of the House Speaker during the day of the inauguration of President Samuel Sako in 2019, and also bringing to surface or resurfacing the irrationality. I was talking to the House Speaker last night and I said, it is not just unconstitutionality when you cause unconstitutional acts and deny to admit or repent, but attempt to justify. It can qualify in law as illegality. The illegal acts of another demented Confucianist committee of the Defunct Restoration Council. who came on board on the day of the inauguration of the president, read what was constitutional, and then out of his will, his own lofty thinking, with his own evil idea, told Amazonians on camera and told the president that, hey, guy, you've got a 2-year mandate. That was not only a preposterous statement, it was also arrogance. It was a despise of a constitution that was already in existence, the interim constitution. It was a mistake and a calculated act sponsored by Yaoundé that created for us a constitutional crisis. In spite of all the arguments and education that we have given, Mr. Anus, in his Anus's mentality, is trying to give to themselves some legality and has brought back the discussion on his platform paid by Cameroon. And I thought it was necessary for this platform that is meant to educate, informed, the mis and disinformed, for us to bring some education to our people. We have sufficiently educated our people of it. But there is a good news in their attempt to bring back something they cannot sustain when it comes to real debate. It's the proof that they recognize that they do not have legitimacy in whatever they have done. So they are trying to beg a few that have chosen to be lazy not to read even what we had as interim constitution. They are trying to manipulate, paraphrase. The criminal so-called journalist knows how to do paraphrasing and manipulation, but he fails because he's not consistent. Today they want you to give to their daughter Marianta some legitimacy. And so we get into that discussion now, Madam Speaker of the House. Cometa made a statement. You made a statement. What was that all about? Talk to us.
Thank you. Thank you, Paddy. I'm glad you brought this up because that's what the other side want to use and think that my I have changed or shifted position because I've been bullied and cowered down. And they try to use my Irene's audio of what she said when she was angry with me. And most people don't know me. I am not one that is swayed by just because somebody bullies me down, I'm just going to cower them. This is how the house proceeded. And the communique when the house actually um, after the process let me take a few steps back. After the vacancy was created in the um, executive branch by the removal of Julius, and you could not just take an acting who was acting on his behalf and just promote him. And we never had a vice except a vice that was appointed by an acting. So it created really a vacancy in the office or the arm of government, the executive. So in that process, going through our constitution, it was difficult for us to have a good, clear cut um, process of bringing in and ushering in a new president as was done during the conclaves. So what ended up happening was a little, I would say, a little paragraph in the interim constitution on page 9 that said, if both of those are not there, by reason for whatever, the cabinet can now nominate any reasonable Ambazonia and present them to the legislative branch to be able to now vet and then vote on and carry that. The House sitting at that time did not think that we should be leaving an office that important and significant into the hands of a few individuals who are called cabinet members. However, if you can, let's just fast forward for a minute. Think about what just happened about 3 4 months ago with a cabinet that was disjunction. Some of them were kind of causing a coup d'etat. If we had a vacancy, do you want to go and trust people like that to be the ones now to bring candidates and give it and say, hey, here is our candidate for presidency? So, in foresight, the House at that time saw that we had a gap in the Constitution. And most of them felt we were going to be in this struggle 3 4 5 years and we will be at home. So, when the House was deliberating, they felt that within a 2 year span, they expressed an intent. And that intent was the House, together with the executive branch and other arms of government and tiers, would come and create an electoral process that would also be technically enshrined or amended in our constitution. And that was not just for the office of the president. You cannot isolate that. It would have to be a comprehensive electoral process. And so that intent was made, and that intent being expressed was that it was supposed to be covered within a 2 year span, which the president now had that tenure, which he would have been the one to call that constitutional amendment to take place. Granted, we had COVID and other stuff. But with this happening, some people just felt that now there was a full mandate that was constitutional. No, it was an intent to ensure that we fix some things that were missing in our constitution. So that was written even in the communique that was out. The oath of office that the president took was fine. The addition was stated there, which was also in the communique. But when I went out on outings, which those outings, it was I was invited. Then I was not. I was the chair of the government affairs committee. And on that set, I wish they would have they would have played what Barrister Nde said and how I also counter Barrister Nde. We say, yes, we are looking forward to a 2 year where we will have basically, it's a constitutional amendment to get electoral process put in place. Barrister Nde said, no, the House cannot do that. I said, we are a lawmaking body. But the lawmaking body is, we can deliberate, we can pass whatever we pass through the House, but it has to be signed into law by the president. So you cannot do that in isolation. So that was an intent that was never realized over 2 years. So the House never realized, never put that in place, never took it seriously until they saw that the 2 years was coming and there was pressure from left and right by some people who could not take and understand an intent that is not executed to get what is correctly needed to be done is still null and void, no matter what we said then.
Okay, Madam Speaker, tonight is your night, and I really want you're carrying a huge load tonight, not just to debunk falsehood and manipulation, but also to educate. And I'm going to be taking you back and forward. Now, if I understand very clearly, Mr. Cometa, the demented Confucianist, made an illegal statement on the day of the inauguration. Now, the intent was legal. The intent, in my opinion, was good. It is an intent. Anybody can think anything. We have a right to think, but we also have a procedure to respect. Now, do you agree with me that Cometa ignored procedure, defied the Constitution in that preposterous statement he made during the day of the inauguration? Do we have that agreement?
Paddy, you and I may say something and we think we are agreeing, but if you go back to the letter that the House wrote, that communique, you can say that Mr. Cometa was acting based on what the House had put out. It was already in public. And so being in public, we never the statement never really needed to come up anymore because that communique was already out there. The oath of office should have just been given. However, by let me take you, let's look at the US
Now, Dr. Lobati, before
presidential
you go,
interrogation.
Dr. Lobati,
Yes.
please, Dr. Lobati, now you agree with me that I will not be wrong to say that owing to the fact that a communique of intent was already made public, it would imply that making a categoric statement without constructing in language that it was an intent was based on ulterior motives. Will I be right if I conclude like that?
Okay, if you know that actually that was a person's motive, then you are right. But if you cannot
Okay, you can continue.
substantiate the person's motive, then you cannot say
Now
that. But
I can easily substantiate, Dr. Lobati. We're going to go back and forth on this. I can easily substantiate because this individual denied by default to come before Amazonians and to apologize for such a foolish statement, and also to recognize that it was unprocedural. So I can at least substantiate. Go ahead, please.
Paddy, if you say it was on procedural, I can agree with you on that part because here is why I would say so. When you see the U.S. Constitution already knows that a term of office for the president is 4 years. So when they go to give the oath of office, you never hear the Supreme Court Chief Justice say that, "And Mr. President, you have 4 years." No, they just give him the oath of office, and it's already in law, and they know what will follow next and when what will happen. So why I'm saying this is the intent, not a bad intent, and believe me, it was not a bad intent and not a wicked intent of the House to have that intention, and we need that. We still need that, and we should work at that because when we get to but when we get home, we won't need an electoral code that is enshrined in our constitution. And if we don't have that, then guess what? We will have anarchy and we will have chaos. And then every little corner, everybody will say, "Hey, here is how we need to carry our own election. And this is what we do." So, no, we need that. We cannot run or shy away from the fact that we won't need an electoral code. It is how we go about it, how we process it, and how we get it to be part of the Constitution. That is what is important.
I love your choice of words. I must tell you that you are very respectful even when you're being disrespected. And this is something I want to tell Amazonians that I remember, because when the constitutional crisis was at its peak, I was in constant communication with you, Madam Speaker, and a couple of times you will stand publicly, privately, to try to cover up and to defend the chairperson committee of the House, of which I understood. You recognize his foolish behavior, but you thought that we can still be civil in the process of making correction and charting a legal way for our people. And that's something I want to applaud you as we make progress with this discussion. Now, the mistake was made The intent was spoiled. Amazonians got offended at it. And some individuals that were paid by Yaoundé capitalized on that audio. So connecting 2019 into 2021, you could see that it was a calculated attempt. And I'll give you a little bit of history as you're patient to listen. From the month of August 2021, Mr. Anu's behavior at the communications department was strange. I noticed, a couple of others noticed. Madame Endel and I particularly spoke about it. That was just the time we started the news with Cynthia Williams. The man was acting really strange. You saw he was positioning himself for elections because they were calculating an election in November. So his behavior was strange. Before that time, in March, this man rose up in the cabinet and told Amazonian stakeholders, people that are donating, and he's not, that, hey guys, stop. You guys are all tired, and myself, let's hand the baton to Kondenge. When he failed to evangelize many into that foolishness, he brought his calm. The same Amazonians that he said were incapable raised for him within a very short time 135,000 US dollars. He swindled it, disappeared it. And closer to the time of the so-called elections that was heated in their heads, he sought to find out the reasons to justify why this man that is making things happen is not a good leader. And then he sacrificed, he brought Madame Irene on the altar as a sacrificial lamb without any just cause, without any justifiable reason, and started the rhetoric of one Coco Tarh. When it failed, he escalated and changed and talked about accounts that were not existent. When that failed, he went into Bitcoin as a discussion and then came back to his platform and told his people that were foolish enough to believe whatever comes out of his stinky mouth. And that, hey guys, I don't even have evidence, but I'm sure Nanchop, the Restoration Council, should invite Nanchop. Nanchop, in his free mentality, fabricated some things. I don't know if that came into your office at the time you were Sec Gen. Talk to us a little bit about that. Let's make progress with the Constitution and get to talk to your Amazonian people.
Thank you, Paddy. To be honest, as the Secretary General of the then Restoration Council, I never did receive any communique or any evidence about the president having had so-called plantations or whatever that the accusations were. They never dropped it. And I did request from the committee chair, if any evidence are there, we would need those in the secretariat. She did mention that. I gave her an email. I said, yes, those evidence need to go. And if the president says, you guys want to take him to court, notarized, yes, it can be notarized. Of course, not all evidence can or exhibits of evidence needs to be notarized. Some can and some shouldn't, don't need to be, if you're honest. But she never did submit the evidence to the secretariat. And I, as the Secretary General, I was gonna open a folder that was gonna deal with all the evidence, and from that, based on procedural terms of reference of the House, documentation of things that needed to be deliberated had to be shared with the members of the House prior to a meeting, prior to a session. at least 5 days prior to a regular session and 24 hours prior to an emergency. And none of those were ever done, and none of those were ever um, followed. Um, Going back to even some other, there were a lot of things. Being a mature person as I am, for the number of years I may have lived, I don't think that it's you have to, because things have gone sour and bad in one way. You have to spill every dirty linen in public. It shows immaturity. You bring what is important, relevant, and important, unless they become people try to put things in the public domain that there is a counter information that would help dispel that falsehood. Otherwise, I would not want to be the one to just carry stuff out, because I had an oath of office. But to the people of Amazonia, not one shred document was provided, not one shred paper or even communique was given to the Secretary General. I think what they felt was, some of them felt like, oh, I am close to President Sako. I'm President Sako, so I would defend President Sako. So other meetings were being held at the side and at the corner, and resolutions coming forth, which I said were not right. They never came through the House. And even committees don't work for the public, they work for the House, and then bring their committee findings, and committees now, then the House now takes the committee recommendation, either vote it, adopt it, or they reject it. So committees are not meant to be a mini house that goes out there and take control of the airlines of or the airwaves or the authority of the entire house. So as said, Jen, I never got any one shred evidence.
Now, so it was all, if I understand, from a declaration to a manifesto of the objective. It was all a defiance of constitution procedures and our terms of references, meaning a group of people sat down, made themselves emperors, and thought that via criminal means they would dictate to Amazonians against all odds. Now, this is something that happened that I feel that we have to talk about it. And you have also mentioned that the intent was not bad, and it was something that was necessary for discussion, something that every Amazonian arm of government, stakeholders had to examine and collectively choose. And I think the president also made this suggestion to them, which they denied it and hurriedly went to the slums with Anus in hope of actualizing a removal. And it fell down flat because Amazonians have rejected it. Saturday was a vote of confidence, like you heard Stasmar and Onyechi reported earlier on. What do you think was the objective of these individuals? What could possibly be their motivation? Because they know that they were wrong, and that even till today they are wrong. Why will they be so wrong and so arrogant? Please talk to us.
Paddy, one thing that you should know is the reason why we have policies and procedures is to guide us. So we have standards of how you function as a government, as a arm of government, or even in your workplace. You have policies, you have procedures that are there to guide you. I will throw a question here, then I move on. Do you know that even if a criminal act was committed and an illegal means was used to obtain the evidence, that can be thrown out of court, and even somebody who is guilty gets acquitted because of how evidence was handled. So the first thing that happened is because we could not and did not have the procedure followed, everything then became null and void. Then you can now begin to go back and say, what happened? What happened? What I want to say is the reason they went and said they were impeaching and removing President Sako had nothing to do even with their electoral process. Really, nothing. The House even had started dealing with that issue of electoral process and months before, and some people started talking about it even way back in February. And the House had not fully expanded, which was something that we could have looked and say, we don't have the reps of every either county or LGA in the House at that time. So there was not a full representation, because in that statement it said, when the House is fully constituted. So the House was not fully constituted. So you could not have even proceeded to use that as a means to say, hey, let's throw the president out. If that was not the issue, because the issue was never even the electoral process that that they used to try to evict or kicked out a legitimate president. The issues that they used were illegal, unsubstantiated accusations without evidence. I want that to be the real, people should see that as the real reason. Even if they had a motive, other people thought they had their motive that, oh, 2 years is coming through and he has to leave, now we can vote. It did not matter, because guess what? It could not have happened without what needed to be done, that had to be done to have an electoral code. And that electoral code was not in place.
Thank you very much, Dr. Winnie, for that honest and deep explanation. Now, listen, Amazonians, this is not just propaganda. This is real talk. This is factual talk. This is a discussion that can be verified by our books. You see, as a people who have suffered oppression and a belligerent occupation, we have learned from the mistakes of our forebears and from the arrogance and cruelty of our colonizers to know that the best way forward for a people like us is by living with precepts. I understand some are yet to be renewed in their minds because they have been so indoctrinated by a Franco-Cameroon laissez-faire attitude where you just do things anyhow. But if you do things anyhow, you get an anyhow result. So the president invited even the coupists for an ASSC2. They rejected it. During that ASSC2, coupists, while stakeholders were sitting down to deliberate a constructive way forward for a people who are carving their way into a future for freedom, coupists, bandits were busy trying to hijack a national treasury. It is important for me to remind you, Amazonians, that 2 months or 3 months prior to that conference in Washington, Coopers had widely campaigned on the social media through their activists, Nanchop and this other guy, is it J. Carl, for Amazonians to stop donating to President Sako. Amazonians ignored them, defied their wish, and within a very short space of time, for Lava Storm 3, Amazonians donated close to $70,000. And the same individuals who said nobody should donate wanted or attempted to hijack it. It didn't end there. The total amounts in cash and savings that was saved by a man they didn't want, close to 200,000 US dollars. The same individuals hijack it. Madam Speaker, you are here today talking to your people. These are individuals, if they had any iota of integrity, they would have proven to Ambazonians that they are capable to lead. And leading is also being able to take responsibility. They would have mobilized for their own resources. Until today that we speak, they are incapable of mobilizing resources. But they want to take and impose and dictate, and they are attempting to bully Ambazonians by taking money that they did not raise. Again, I'll ask you, what could be their intention? Because as we speak, if none of the proactive and creative abilities of President Sako, our people would have been in shit situation right now at the home front. So what, again, could be the intention of people who know that they cannot effectively use what they are trying to take? Talk to us, Madam Speaker.
Paddy, and the people of Amazonia, I can only infer. I cannot confirm, because if somebody's intention are buried and their motives are buried within them, you cannot really per se say that that was actual or they're absolutely correct. I am not in a court of law or as a lead prosecutor trying to show the intention. What we can do is we can look at what were the outcomes of their action. What was their ultimate result? The ultimate result was they wanted to destabilize the government. They wanted a man out, so they were at all costs willing to destabilize, destroy the struggle for the purpose of trying to get somebody that the enterprise of lies and hate that they had put out there or that they were concocting was working. So their intention, I would say, was not good. It was not good for the people of Amazonia. Their intention was not good for the struggle. Their intention was not healthy for the interim government and for the people of Amazonia and for the struggle. Yes, you can only see that intention because now I term them spoilers. They have to me they are in the category of spoilers. That's where they remain and just keep making noises and keep making voices just to be spoilers. They have remained now as spoilers, and if and any of them are involved with trying to betray the struggle, I'm sorry to tell them that the struggle is above each any one of us, even above La République and France. They cannot determine the outcomes because God has determined the outcomes of our struggle, our freedom, even before we even existed, or this generation. And let me say something here. Paddy, I will say this in a way that those who have a spiritual mindset can understand it. Our parents, when they could not take the heat from La République after the our independence, and Haijo started eroding the authority of our government, they now said, we are not going to fight this, because they saw a lot of how the Bamilekes that and the Bassa people that have fled into our territory to take refuge, and all the suffering, and even if you look at when they were asking Nigeria and Cameroon what they have to offer us, the president at the time in Nigeria said, "You don't want to go you don't want to join the people that all they'll do is they'll just arrest you and lock you up without any evidence and be tortured." They had seen that torture, but our people also still remember how they were treated by the Nigerians, especially the Igbos and maybe the Ibiobios and whatever that were around us, that we were being mandated from the Eastern House. So they remember that that was their experience. They had not experienced the other side of what La République was doing to its citizens. And so, with that, our fathers now said, they said this prophetically and they did not know. They said, this fight, we will leave it for our children. And we are those children. And we are the never again generation. So it is up to us to take the mandate that was given to us by our fathers. That was the baton that was handed to us by our fathers because they were too scared to move and push forward for it. Granted, Hydro slaughtered a lot of our people. Let's not minimize that. So we are the ones. But God had orchestrated it such that there would be a critical moment in history that we will be able to do this. And it is at this moment we have many tools at our disposal. Many of us are now in diaspora that we can help use these tools, generate some of the resources that we can help fight it. So it was very prophetic, and that baton was really handed to us as from our parents. So we have said, we have also made a prophetic statement. We are the never again generation. What do we mean? We don't want our own children to fight this war. We don't want our children to be the ones to get the self actualization. We are going to ensure that we get it and hand to our children a government that they can now enjoy. While we may be building together, but they will enjoy it.
Now, in our endeavor to make sure that we hand better than we inherited from our forebears, Amazonians once again proved to us on Saturday that they are ready to do this. They donated in 1, 2, 3, 4, and as we counted and counted and counted, at about 2 a.m. in talking about 2 a.m. Amber time, Amazonians had counted approximately $500,000 US dollars in hard currency to make sure that our people can be sustained, to make sure that our generation will not just restore her integrity that has been stolen in 1961, but to make sure that we will be consistent and we will have Cameroon sit with us in Switzerland. Dr. Tita Emmanuel G. inspired that night told Amazonians in a very succinct and holistic manner that President Sako had given to Amazonians, or had given to La République du Cameroon, an olive branch. That was wonderful. I was thrilled. Like Undaunted reported this evening, that's one of the best speeches ever made during a pre or a draft launch. An olive branch has been given to Cameroon. That is an audacious statement, owing to the fact that we are fighting a government, a belligerent occupation that has one of the best armed forces, trained, financed by France in Africa. We know there is an alliance treaty between La République du Cameroon to gain support, military support from France and all their French neighbors. I'm talking about the Zakawas of the Republic of Chad. I'm talking about the Sangos of Bangui and the Mfangs of Equatorial Guinea in Gabon. But Amazonians, considered as the minority group and nation in the Gulf of Guinea, have stood the grounds. They've stood their grounds and they're looking into the eyes of these allied forces of French Cameroon, and they're beating them in their own game. Madam Speaker, Will you talk like Dr. Tita? Will you cue into the fate of Dr. Sako, who believes that the days ahead will be better than any other day that Amazonia has lived before today? Talk to us, please.
Paddy, the first thing I can say is whenever you have a house that is divided in purpose and goal, the best thing that probably happened to us, that not by us choosing, was having a sifting process. And this sifting process got the people that had a different agenda and purpose out. And we are left now. The sifting continues. But we are left now with people that have the same goal and purpose that we have, and we want to go to Boya. Don't buy every word people say. We're going to Boya. We're going to Boya. But their direction, their truck, they take a bus instead of going to Boya. Their truck is leading down, maybe through Douala, and maybe heading towards Yaoundé. We don't want those kinds of ambiguity of purpose of speech and intent and speech and where we are heading. So what we are, I'm happy is the fact that Amazonians rallied behind the cause of we need our nation. We will not let somebody come to do that for us. We will do it. Even if you want to help us, we'll take the help. But it is our responsibility. We are those children, that never again generation. We take it, and thank God for the vision He has given President Sako to move us beyond um, just crying and making, and I'm not undermining demonstrations and all whatnot, but that's not what was going to ultimately lead to that. It might get us a little popularity, but how many times do you find Amazonia information on CNN or on ABC or on MSNBC? We don't, or on BBC, or very few occasions would you have. And now you used to hear all the BBC interlock, the spokesperson of Amazonia interim government, and that platform is, those platforms are eroding as well for the person that used to use them as the interim government spokesperson. Why? Because the international community put a pause. Hey, we see some confusion here. What's going on? Let's wait and see what is happening. And Saturday, you guys said, international community, take off your hands from the pause and put it on the play button. Here we are. We are going to Boya, and this is who you need to talk to.
That was amazing. We are going to Boya. Amazonia is free. For those of you watching right now on the social media, we will be opening the phone lines just right after the break. The House Speaker had indicated earlier on that she wants to communicate with you. You have the chance to make your contribution, ask your questions. The discussion continues. This is just a start of it. In the days ahead, we'll escalate the discussion. I hope I'll have the Vice President again. And before I even get to the break, you know who is coming live tomorrow at 9 p.m. Amber time? He's the Secretary of State for Communications and IT. You know him, Secretary Martin Mungwa, PhD. You know, when he speaks, he doesn't speak common facts, hard facts, historical, in a sweet way, in the most simplistic way that anyone can understand. He spends his time and does a lot of research. And let me just read out to you what our Secretary of State for Communications and IT will be reading tomorrow. I'll give you details of the publicity right after this program. Dr. Mungwa will be doing for us tomorrow. You don't want to miss that program tomorrow for anything. That will be immediately after Undaunted News. And Lady Casey, the press secretary, and myself will be hosting him. It's going to be exceptional. So we're going to have our Secretary of State talk to us on very pertinent issues. I mean, pertinent issues. It's not a play matter, real pertinent issues. So he is going to refer us into some criminal things that Franks did. Let me just get that for you. Amazing. So, the United States Marshall Plan, French deception in Africa. You heard a lot, right? But I'm sure you want to get that. And right after this break, we will make sure the phone lines are open for you to start talking, for you to start calling in. But those of you who are watching right now on Facebook and on YouTube, just give a hashtag Ambazonia is free. Ambazonia is free. And then you need to type a lot of this money. Just type it. The monies keep coming. You can see the payment details going through the scroll bar. Some of you have already, I have a lot of screenshots of Ambazonians dropping in the money. Tomorrow, Nijo and some members of the treasury will be with Undaunted earlier by 8 p.m. to give to you some details of the cash, as the accounts of the interim government. The newly created accounts are blowing up. They're pumping. Ambazonians enthusiastically are paying in the money. That is amazing. Congratulations to you. Keep pumping in the money. I understand that the drafting is just escalating. Even as I speak to you now, Ambazonians are donating. They're donating in their numbers. We will talk to you. Like I said, the discussion continues, and we will talk to you right after the break. It's important for us to honor ABC. It's the only platform in Ambazonia that speaks nothing less than the truth. The only platform that respects our colors. The only platform that respects our history. The only platform that is owned 100% by the peoples of Ambazonia. At least after we were taking everything, our marketing board destroyed, our bank, the Southern Cameroonian Bank, destroyed. Everything was ripped off us. Dr. Sako believes that we can start by gaining a platform, and a professional platform, an international platform, a platform that is willing to compete with any media house in the world. And just right after break, we will talk to you again. Stay tuned.
The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age, and not with Undaunted ABC Amber News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution on Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is, we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amber TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
to inform the misinformed and disinformed with Undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing it to the news untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amber TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the importance of storytelling can never be overemphasized, Ambazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Amazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambertv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a club member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team.
Okay, we're right back. You are welcome on board. We can do this together. This is Amazonia, a nation that deserves a place in the world of excellence, in the world of greatness, and in the world of beauty. Amazonia has been deprived of her own for too long, and this is the time Amazonia has risen to fall no more. Nobody, no man born of woman will stop us. Dr. Lobati, please talk to us. Ambazonians, the lines are open. You can see the number on top of your screen. Perhaps, okay, it's clear enough. I can see it on my screen. It's very clear enough. Call right now. Let's talk. Let's talk about a word. Let's talk about the unconstitutional behavior. Let's talk about some of your concerns. The Speaker of the House is here, and she is willing. I have some people that have already indicated their interest to discuss with us. A lot of people have indicated their interest. I am following the comment section. Beautiful comments coming out there from our viewers saying, discussing interesting things. Thank you so very much for appreciating what we do. We love you too, and we continue to do it good because you are believing in us. Thank you very much. Madam Speaker, please talk to us.
Paddy, I want to take this time, first of all, to thank the people at home front. Really want to say thank you, because no matter what we do in diaspora, how much funds we raise, if you don't have the willingness and tenacity to make the reality of what our parents said, that our children will be the ones to fight this war, it will not happen. So just as it depends on us to support your hands, it depends on you for the track and the road to Boya to be paved so that we get there and get there sooner. So I really want to thank you, every one of you. I thank you because I know that you do care. I understand there's been a lot of pain. There have been other people that have been on the ground just causing us distraction, kidnapping people, taking ransom. That is not what our struggle is about. Our struggle is about freedom, the respect of the rights of the individual. Our struggle is to get us to get to Boya, where law will be, and the law and the constitution will be upheld. That is what we want for us and for our children and for those to come many generations later. So I want to appeal that stay tuned, stay engaged, watch your ABC, get the truth and the news from here. You might hear other things somewhere, but if you come and it doesn't cross-check and it doesn't click, be careful. When people lie, it is easier for them to form another lie to cover up the lies. But when you speak truth stands one way, and it doesn't bend, it doesn't have to twist itself, it doesn't have to reinvent itself. to cover up, because truth is always truth. I really appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart.
Yes, Madam Speaker, we have our first caller here. Is a vibrant activist, very consistent, very prophetic in his assertions and statements he has made public. He has said things that people insinuated that he was a conspiracy theorist, but the things have come to pass before us and we can leave them. He's one of those activists that are not just noise makers. He's a stakeholder. He has drafted, he drafts for almost every county. He drafts with his family, and he's drafting his own life for this struggle. I'm talking about none other but an individual that's coming from your county. Comrade Ochiba Nelson is here to talk to us. My brother, go ahead. The people of Amazonia and the House Speaker is listening to you.
Okay, I did throw a salute for House Speaker, and I did throw a salute for you, Mr. Director, for all the time we want to take for educate with people. And I want to just advise Ambazonians, say we get for focus and we move forward. Say things are there for on site. Like people did not say war no day. It can't be talk say war a day. After we don't boycott the 20 May, they already call we say Southern Cameroonians. Now you understand the play where they go there. So the only thing we need to do, now say, do we get for the fight enablers them and the rest, we get for make sure say, more we be very careful. Me la Republic, they not use the own game where they abuse and on top people them. The kind game now say they need for always come for put on a own leaders where they will control them for like remote control. Like how would they be put in Bida? I mean they put Ayijo on top Bida, they put Pobia on top Ayijo and all they like. So I see some leaders, some Anglophones where in quotes, they put themselves them for they try for it, project themselves because they don't hear like public, they want try for talk say either they will put a post of prime minister or they will give Anglophone president. Well, we problem, even I say Anglophone be president for any country inside the whole world, we problem I say me like public it go for your boundaries and where it be achiever for independence for 1961. I mean 1961st of January 1960. We don't restore a country, we own government, we own institutions where they be for day. Anybody where it fight against all these things them, it for me say that person where it is stand up for the oppressor is side. I don't see no reason where if we can't chakara on a family compound. When I talk say when I go build a house, the compound again. Some I say no, me they only put a foundation lever, me they only do na this one. So now the thing and that way we get for be very, very careful. I tell the restoration forces them, say when I get for work together, maybe when I not go key on our brothers them, like public it recruit more troops them. Instead for when I for the work together, they can't spoil when I talk say when I go to kill on our own brothers and sisters, they work and kidnap people them. A name for that Tangaji boy them. They will not do that kind of thing there because anybody when you don't hold gun against the public, even if you don't assist now for training for 1 day or for 1 minute, your name being known outside there. And the only way it will guarantee your life now for sending the fight move like republic we go for Boya. Fight under interim government, you fight for government so that either dead or alive, you shall be compensated even with your own family. Now, I don't want to see for America, they get the Veterans Day. Yes, people when they work personal white night for Ayijo. Now Ayijo don't come up for power. We say they don't take no pension. But people when they work for the state of La Republic, they still don't take pension. Any village for Ambazonia, we go up the way they don't work, they go take pension. But if you say you want to work for Ayewa, they will buy Ayewa go, what you will do? You want to go for Akwanga, what you will do? So we want to go back for our own communities, for our own LGism and other kind of them. I also be for this, for toxic, all the LGism, when they don't contribute money, since time they put this revolution, people that take the money they chop. Especially even I did for America, me the LGA constitute a document talk say they will raise money for go help their community, for go help refugees. Some individual they carry the money, they come out run, and they will go for court, they will pay that money. So me some person not check see, it will take the money, it will come out for you, it run. So Amazonianism, we they win this war, we win this war. Everybody get for four for a country with draft. Because if you fail for draft, it means you will give the public authority, make they can declare you will on top you. And you know, say, when they don't tie you for planting rope, you cut, they will tie you rubber. You cut for rubber, they will tie you iron. They don't cut for iron now. It means that they will melt you and melt down. So we will stand up firm now. We know, say, never again generation, they don't come. This year, 2022, if we do the right thing, it won't be for Christmas time. All of us will smile. So I thank you for all my way there for diaspora and all my way there for confront. So that maybe we work together and we can celebrate. That one plenty.
Thank you, too.
Thank
Madam
you.
Speaker, you just heard from Uchiba. He said three very vital things that perhaps you want to relate to that. Number one, that I can remember. Yeah, just go ahead. Just go ahead.
I think the first one is for us to stay focused, and the other one was the fact that La Republique is trying to do a reconstruct of a political process for Southern Cameroons. And the other one is advising our restoration forces on the ground to stay focused and to engage till we get to Boya. Um, let me let me take the two. I think the focus one is both for diaspora as well as it is for our restoration fighter. But let me talk about the issue of La Republique now beginning to call us Southern Cameroons. Good. Here is the thing. Our government of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, or AKA Southern Cameroons, it is not La Republique that will come to institute our government for us. We are the people, and we take it in our hands. We make our laws. We implement our laws. We put our structures in place. It will not be pre-manufactured from somebody and imposed on us. We've already had that. We've already had that, and we're done with it, and we're not going back there. So let La Republique not deceive herself, thinking that they are going to do that. Guess what? There's one thing they need to do, and to help themselves before President Paul Biya dies. They need to help themselves before their own country becomes falls apart. Let them come to the Swiss-led process at the negotiation table so that we can do this thing in a peaceable manner. And let me tell you, if Paul Biya dies now and there is chaos in that nation, guess what? It will be, and we will easily walk off the ramp into Amazonia, off the highway into Amazonia to Boya, but they will not be able. So there will be a greater destabilization of the Gulf of Guinea. So La Republique needs to get this. I don't care who the people are, whether they try to go bring Don Gute, bring whoever that they think because they are of Amazonia descent, but that is dancing to their tune to imposing on our people. That is not gonna work. Let them understand that. I hope they do understand that.
Yeah, there's something Uchiba also said, which I think that it is um, it is smart for us to talk about. Uchiba mentioned the fact that our people are being manipulated. Manipulated because you have people giving themselves titles. He said Cameroon, what Cameroon needs now is to respect their international boundary. This issue of Cameroon respecting their international boundary has to do with historicity and legality. It's a major concern, which we feel that major stakeholders have got to start talking about it, and talking about it categorically and honestly. What more is there for us to do, Madam Speaker? to enhance this?
Paddy, I think we are on the way of getting La Republic out of our territory. La Republic cannot claim 1 inch of our territory. We have international boundaries. The manipulation has gone on for too long, but it's been exposed. They have been stripped naked. How can you go put a vote and say we, and yes? How can you go instead of taking, even if La Republique wanted reunification, guess who they should have been? The elimination of the federal state. It should not have been to the rest of Cameroon. It should have been to us of the southern Cameroons who came to join them, and we should have been the one to decide. Have you not seen in the UK how once in a while you will hear the Scottish people say they want to separate, the Irish people say that when they go to make conduct those votes, they don't come to the whole of Britain or the United Kingdom to ask them, or when the UK had to the Brexit. When Brexit happened, they did not go to the whole European Union countries and say, "Do you want Britain to leave?" No. If Britain could leave EU, why can't we? Who already we know we are a separate nation. Why can't we? Why can the international community not recognize that this is hypocrisy? So all the manipulation, I'm
Madam
sorry.
Speaker, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I think I cannot hear you. Something is happening with your sound. Check your microphone.
My mic is on.
Okay, that's good. Go right ahead.
Okay. So where did you lose me so I can speak?
No, go
What
right
was
ahead. Just I think it's fine. It was just an issue of my system. Your sound is
okay?
good.
All right, good. So I was saying is La République cannot think that they hold us. They cannot hold us hostage. We have been educated well enough, and the manipulation will not work this time. They may manipulate a few people. There's a saying that say you can fool some of the people all the times, but you will never fool all the people all the times. So we have been educated. We know our history now. We know our roots. We know who we are. We are not going to be told by somebody else and be defined by somebody else who we are. Like I explained, I said when the UK left the EU, Brexit, they did not go to all of the European Union nations and say vote if Britain should leave the EU. No, it was to the British citizens. Do you want to leave the EU or stay with them? And they said, no, we're leaving, and it was respected. So ours should be respected equally.
That's amazing. I'm telling Amazonians the phone lines are opening. I'm going to be going through your comment sections. That's the number you can find on top of your screen right there. Perhaps you would like me to shift it where you can see it clearly. Okay. I hope you're seeing it clearly. Maybe I should increase the size of it so that Amazonians watching can actually see it. We're waiting for your calls right now. But this is it, Madam Speaker. Comrade Nursing, UN also said something very vital there, which I think that you should talk a little bit about it. He's making an unapologetic suggestion. He's saying that all those who have defrauded, they have stolen from LGAs and counties, the people should constitute themselves and make sure that these criminals are checked, they are brought to book. That's what he said. Now we have an ongoing process. As Speaker of the House, I believe perhaps you are privy of an information. And you understand also how the legal system in America functions. Talk about that in conjunction. Let's make progress with this discussion.
Amazonians, here is something. I think I'm even going to be more. I'm bolder than UN about what we should do and what we should not do. I even have my own preconceived idea that I think we should think about it. And we will think about it, and we will think about it as we get on our way to Boya. Yes, those who have stolen from us, who have taken, not all of them are you going to be able to pick them up or drag them to court here in the US, but we will keep the records for Boya. Those records will be kept, and they will they will be handled in Boya. We have records. The other thing I'm even going to ask and move forward more so than what Comrade UN said was those who have chosen to not support the struggle, and they hope that when we get to Boya, then they will come to harvest the fruits of our labor. I have some, and I have news for them. You will pay with interest all what you did not do. And maybe those families that have been investing with their lives, with their family, with the ARFs, and those who have even been putting so much money, guess what? Maybe we might give them a tax break, and then let the others now pick up and finance our nation. Guess what? I have more. I'm thinking wildly of how we can handle these people who just want to stay at the corner and are waiting for the time when the feast is spread on the table to come and eat.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. We have a caller here. Caller, can you hear me? He has a contribution to make and a question. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, just get out, lower the volume of your set, and then make your contribution, please.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for your service for the nation. What I want to ask for you to give some guidance and clearance to Ambazonia is this. Late barrister Ben Muna once said, if you want to have freedom, you have to bloody fight for the freedom. We have gotten to that stage that we really have to bloody fight for the freedom. And you are showing us the example in the interim House of Rep. I really want you to elaborate on this statement for every Ambazonian to know what it means when a barrister and a father says you have to bloody fight for your freedom. Thank you so much for your service.
Madam Speaker, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to the caller. I didn't catch his name. I would have addressed him by his first name. I just want to say, I think Barrister, was it Ben Mona, or which one did he say was the one that said it? I think he is completely right. He is completely right.
It was Ben Mona. It was Ben
Good.
Mona. That was when
Yeah.
the political uprising just started in 2016.
Yes, in 2016, I think so.
Yeah.
But here is something. You have to bloody fight for your freedom. No nation has ever had its freedom from an oppressor without some bloody fight. Let me tell you, when America got its independence from the British, there was what was called the American War of Independence. When the time of slavery were in America as well, where the freedom to emancipate the Africans who were brought into the Americas forcefully to be free, there was a bloody fight in America as well. So yes, we want freedom. There is a price to pay for freedom. And you have to be willing to pay that price to enjoy the fruit. So Amazonians, you can fight with your dollars or your euros or your yens or your whatever currency, or you can fight with your life on the ground, or you can fight with your positive contributions, not pulling the government down or trying to and you can fight by fighting all the spoilers. You can fight by sending out messages to La République to know that we stand for what, and we mean what we stand for, and we are fighting till we get it or till you leave. And we are doing so. That, thank God that President Sako came out and said self-defense is a human right. Let me ask you a question. If any of us, if you stood in the marketplace and guess what? Somebody just came and started hitting your face, but will you just sit there and you can't run fast? Would you not try to defend yourself? And that's what we've been doing. We've been defending ourselves. I just said that it is good for us that we have our structures in place and we are looking and we have hope. But if when Mr. Bia dies, I'm telling you, La République is going to try to put some kind of state of emergency to try to see if they can contain or they can hide it that he is dead for months, like the French have done in other French countries, so that they can manipulate and get the leader that fits their narrative and that will be their puppet. But guess what? We have to know that that moment is coming. It is coming. Mr. Bia is not going to be living into his 100. Even if he lives to 120, the day is coming. He will be gone.
Amen. Keep fighting. Fight with your dollars, with your euros, with your pound, with your yen. That is the statement from the House Speaker tonight. You can look on your screens. You have the payment details. Ambazonians are aggressively and globally redeeming their pledges. Some are just drafting. As we speak tomorrow, you will be receiving some updates from the man at the hand of the restoration of the resource mobilization. We have another caller on the line. Amazonians are calling. Please just be patient. Right after this caller, I'm going to pick some of your calls. I'll read some of your comments. Caller, talk to us, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Paddy, for putting my call. I want to thank the Honorable Madam Speaker for giving her time to Amazonians to educate our people, especially those at the home front. As Mr. Nelson Ozencheba said, we should sometimes we talk in pidgin so that some of these our people at the home front should really understand what is really going on, because some of them are confused because they don't know exactly sometimes when they speak in the languages that people are not there to interpret to them. Some of them will be confused. That's why many of them, they thought Mr. Cristiano was speaking for the Amazonian people, not knowing that they are there to play their games and take the Amazonians back to La République. So I just want to ask a few questions in the pidgin so that if some of them can understand.
Yeah, go ahead, my brother.
Okay, thank you. So the problem here, and I say, we understand, say, at the home front right now, confusion there between the restoration forces and the so-called the unity warriors, or the whatever the unity
Palace warrior then.
Okay, yeah. So it be very, very unfortunate. See, I think quote some examples like for Bui, we see the problem between the restoration forces and the warriors, where they go kill their own fellow brothers, and not the news saying after the war, if Amazonia not win the war, all the way they hold the guns, La République will slaughter all them. Coming back, it will right up to Ngokutundia, where no pity day, if they come now, they fight the fellow brothers and sisters, disarm them, and it make them vulnerable to the enemy. And not only Ngokutundia, there are other places than they, like we go for Meme and other places. So my advice now say, wait way Mr. Madam Speaker advise the fighters about the problem now between La République, where they help for disarm their fellow brothers, they be vulnerable, and if they not win the war, they will kill them. I'm not saying
some of them be deceived by the coup plotters. And when they draft, where they showed great demarcation between coup plotters and the interim government. So what would be the advice now for them for make the choice for know who to fight for so that tomorrow they will benefit?
Thank you very much, my brother. Yeah, Madam Speaker, Mami talk for we.
Thank you for remind me say I get for talk for that will country talk where all man know. The first thing with me I want talk now say the fight where would the fight? You need to fight. You need to fight now for President Sako. You need to fight for Madam Speaker. I want my restoration fighters so they made it hear this well. You need to fight for your country. You need to fight for I hate for call names for other people, but I go call them. You need to fight for Akwanga. You need to fight for Cho Ayaba. You need to fight for whoever where they put their names there. You need to fight for some so-called whatever name they give themselves. You need to fight for your country. And when you start saying you fight, if you know say you fight for the freedom of your country, then if someone tell you say shoot kill your brother because that your brother he be supported by somebody where they not like him, then you know say na really your enemy that um so here now my advice is the military or the restoration fighters not be placed for politics. The struggle will not there for place for politics yet. We the go forward, get we land. That is why we be here. We talk from the beginning. Say we go get electoral process, code, and all whatnot. Then we go put political parties. If that time you're political person where you want dance with them, now the man where he come up for a name now, Mr. Johnny, or the person where he hold a flag for Mrs. Esther, or the person he flag na flag for Camino Go, or the person he flag na flag for whatever banner where you want. That time when we don't reach Oboya, now for them we go vote. But this time, my tell when I saw other thing. As one of the disarm one of brothers, unless say you be really the pretend, say you the fight the war for your country, or you really fight na for la republic. You the fight now for side for La Republic. And if you continue to do that, when war end, there is no ifs and we go win the war. But when war end, international community usually go come back and they will start look at people the way they be commit with what they call say a war, what they be call commit criminal offenses against civilians and other people. And then when they do that, they go take some of una Georgia and they go condemn una, put una for prison for other part. That's why it be important. Stay under your commander in chief because now he now set the pace, give una instruction. If anything go wrong, they go hold Nai. As I say, now you be commanding people them for do this. Somebody tell una those people say where they give instruction, can pass through una maybe na 50,000, 200,000, 500,000. Say go kill your brother there. Take away all their stick. So how they go protect civilians? Begin look up. These people, the way they call themselves, say they did for different camp. How many La Republic don't can enter? They put them down, they say, bye-bye, we not want you for here. Or they only pretend. They come now for kill their own brothers. Because they know who's their brothers slippery head. No, that's not correct.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We have another caller. Your life on ABC.
Hello, Comrade Paddy. Good afternoon.
Thank you, my brother. Good evening for good midnight is about food.
And it's a lot, Madam Speaker. I not really follow the show. I just be on and off, but I think I feel only encourage our people me to stay resolute because you know when woman they belly it gonna go front in any kind of back. Chris I know if belly don't show. So I feel only encourage our people say me they me they stay resolute. Saturday will be a referendum. I don't think say any Ambazonian will get it day for the revolution for independence. We still listen to those guys. So on a serious note, I even think say if the IGP fee employee maybe a PR for we each draft it can make audio. I think so it will help with it will even help with. So I stand up all man I think say we are on a good footing. We are on a good footing. They'll find themselves. They don't start to find evidence. They want build a republic where you take person put our prison before you want to find evidence. It's a shame.
Where time Dorisho Gorisho court, they will bring evidence. We run the court.
I not really be steady. I salute all my
Okay, no problem, my brother. Thank you very much. Madam Speaker, maybe you want to make this contribution. A lot of people are still calling again. This caller calling again. Oh God. Okay. There's another call on the line. Madam Speaker, do you want to make a comment on that before we take this next call?
Yes, thank you, Paddy. Maybe we will take like two call them one time so that I
Okay,
answer.
Naimaka, just take this
May they
one.
make am short. Yeah, may they make am
Okay,
short so
yes.
that make
Okay.
more people talk. Mhm.
Okay. Yes, caller, go ahead. Yeah, Madam Speaker, so we make them short so that make more people talk. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Mami Speaker. And Paddy, thank you for what you do. I want to give some clarification for people. You want Wilson, chairman for defense for Mesa. Eritrea they be fight. If you know if you support with money, when they get an annual fee of $300. That time, if you know if you support with money, you go support with manpower. So each family they get a certain contribution, either the manpower or money. I want me really tell Ambazonian that what it mean. Someone will draft. Now what did I want to Mama? Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Speaker.
Yeah, thank you. My answer question for that first person. That first person, he won't be being saying, if be actually giving a tool with the toxin and encouragement and advice. Say more remember, say we need for stay focused. Even where Mr. Anubi talk the other day, say they don't ban waiting draft. It be only help now for help people them. Me they remember, say, first of all, will not be the do the thing na for you. So we will show you say we'll not be the doing for you, we'll be the doing for with country because we be patriotic. So people they even add money pass way to way they be supposed to pay. So it wants some more stay focused. Yes, thank you for that. For encourage Amazonia people. So we need for stay focused and stay focused. We'll draft. The other person they talk about Eritrea. Eritrea and some other country way, then two they be together with with Ethiopia. They separate. But as they be fight their own war to forget separation, they be tax everybody and every family, and say if una not get money for game, una get people for game, and so they be succeed forget their separation. Even if they get their own small trouble inside, they still get their own nation and their own government. So it ask say how we would do. Now when me I be talk my story say if you deny for gear now, that one will reach for boya. We go add on top the interest rate where it go pass you for pay, and you go look and say, hey, maybe you go take na 10 years for pay all this thing where you don't deny for pay now. So any man contribute. Every family for some mommy them with your contribution fit be na say restoration fighter them you harvest corn for farm, you pass you give them, you cut your mango for bush, you pass you give them so one they chop. So you get different ways for contribute. But restoration fighters more than also una dey there because of umami them will papa them with civilian population, una dey there for protect them and then for push la republic out. Now una two main function that protect with people, push La Republic out. And when we not succeed for push La Republic out and protect with people, then all the two of the years they kidnap for ransom. Some people they don't want to become millionaires back for home. Now because they will kidnap you, they'll say bring with 10 million, bring with 3 million, and then family worker go sell all plot just so that me they go release their person. We people they value life. Yes, we do, and we will continue for value life. So I beg una, I beg everyone, I beg every Amazonia way to listen for me. Everyone, whether you did diaspora or and if you did that, you did back home, you did for home front, and your family they did for you, call them, ask and say, you don't draft. Wait till you do wait. Now wait till you wait. Why you never draft? Because tomorrow they go ask you. We go step before you go build house or you go do some business for back for home. We go ask and say, show we a draft certificate. What how you be contribute made in war day? Say will finish rich boya. If you not be fight for push them out, then show we wait to where you be do. So that time they come. Now we the talk na small. But Sunday go be where it not go look nice because that day, man, when you not get way show proof say you be big part, you go no go forget right to for enjoy the fruit.
Thank you very much, our speaker. We have another caller on the line. Caller, go right ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Director of Program. Good afternoon, Madam Speaker. I want to thank all the Ambarazonians all over the world when they listen and watch this podcast of one of the most impressive TV stations for the world. World class, top notch TV with presenters will be elegant and impressive with top notch eloquence. I want to say great job and bravo to the team, the administration, from the president to the least member of the interim government. You know, all that TV, they talk about, oh, they get views. The ABS, they get views. There's something they call responsible viewers. And other one, they get irresponsible viewers. The irresponsible viewers are those cheap-ass viewers, excuse my French, who just come and watch, make noise, insult. But when they talk about contributing money for defense, 50 people a day, 500 people watch, but 2 people contribute. They get 100 viewers, 5 millions, but when they contribute money for their own interim government, if they call that a government, they couldn't make up to $5,000. So the cheap ass viewers are just there to make mouth and insult. So I want to all Ambazonians say, you don't need to worry about the views, because views no matter anything for life. Views gonna give money. You know how we get less views on ABC? Because most of the guys on ABC are poor, they're working. By the time the TV's on, we're in our office working money and to come to contribute when we have draft. That's when we have the views. That's when we see that there is a level they call high-end viewers and cheap-ass viewers. I want to thank you, Director of Program, for making it possible with the excellent, wonderful, incredible programs you bring up. Not to talk about those 2 beautiful ladies that are so eloquent, beautiful, and intelligent. Read scripts. I think they make magic to get that language. Everybody in this ABC with this interim government want a class of high integrity people.
Thank you.
People should not be bothered about their views. Oh, how many viewers watch ABC? What are the viewers doing today? Nothing. The handclappers, they're irresponsible, cheap-ass, broke-ass guys who do nothing but come and watch. Watch when they call them to contribute, they cannot contribute. I'm Arizona, I'm not going to be worried or be angry, say, they say we'll not get a view. We'll not get view. We'll get view for contributing. $400,000. It's not like. It's millions. Come on, government don't even have $400,000 in their account and their coffers. The government is as broke as shit. So I don't have much to say because everything you guys are doing is just what we wanted. Just from this contribution, this drafting of yesterday, you will see we'll be having people watching. They know that this is the winner team. This is a winning team. They want to join. So Chris, I know they have just 4 views. You see what views? What is that views doing to Chris Arrow and the ABS TV? So I want to thank Madam Speaker You are something out of class, out of the cloud. You are steadfast. You are superb. You are beautiful. And you speak beautiful English. We want to listen to people like you. You're not mumbling. You're not fumbling. Look at Paddy. Paddy will come out and give us something. I don't know how to call that. An intellect before the program starts. I thought those beautiful girls. And look, I listened to the president yesterday. What a language. I don't know how to call it. He was impressive. He knows how to play with words. He knows what we want to hear. He gave us all of what we wanted to hear, and the money came out. We are those who write and contribute because we want the world to know. But it's better we don't support it, we do. I want to thank you guys for making us get up of our bed, working so hard to come and support this government. All those cool plotters will just end up dying in shame. Don't get started getting confused right now. There's a lot of confusion in their camp right now. Their team is not on today. They didn't come up to say, oh, this, they did not. I like the name you called them. You said something when you were starting this, you were talking about Chris Arnold, what is not what they say. You said what? I want you to continue to use that word every day. Call this drafting the name you call Chris Arnold. That audiovisual money of the sort of name you said. It's not what you said. It just went out of my head.
Yeah.
So, but I want to thank you.
Audio money.
Not audio money, not what you there was something you said.
When I watch it again, I will know it. Sometimes it comes by inspiration.
Use the word I said, Chris Arnold.
Yeah, proper. Yes, propaganda.
Propaganda.
Yes.
That's the word, bro.
Yes.
This drug should be called propaganda.
Yes.
That's the name we should use. We should use their own names to call them back.
Amen.
That's what we have to do.
Thank you,
I want
brother.
to thank you, Paddy. You joined this TV with a youthful knowledge and with the force that we cannot reckon with. You want to build a TV station. Chris Arnold has never done anything in his life as good as what you guys have just done in a short period you took over this TV as a director. And the team that you guys are building together is marvelous.
Thank you.
Every day there's an improvement. Every day there's a new sign. Every day there's something. Those girls are improving every day. They are so classy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're grateful.
So I want to tell Madam Speaker, we will pray for you. If we can support financially, we can support with prayers. And we are going to stay back and stand by you until we get to your boya.
Thank you very much.
So that's it. I have no question for you because you have it all. And there's no question for me to ask. Because I've understood everything you wanted to say and you said.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amazonians. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, maybe before you react, please, we're not taking calls again. I'll just read some of the comments. Before you react, I want to announce to every Amazonian who is watching that tomorrow we hope to have some members of the National Treasury. We don't take notes. That is before the Secretary of State for Communications and ID comes up. He's just sent to me a message that he's going to be talking on really very serious things with inclusion of what we discussed yesterday. He will also be talking to us about the draft. Like Madam Speaker said earlier on, I want to thank this speaker very specially for giving to us, for showering to us so much blessings. We are humbled. We're doing this devotedly because of the effort you're making to keep this platform alive. You keep donating. Go to our website, become a club member, make a one-time donation. Make sure that this thing that belongs to Amazonia 100%, the enemy will not destroy it. Thank you all. Continue redeeming your pledges. Major just sent to me a message this evening, and Ma Irene, they are just so excited because they can hear the accounts. The accounts are ringing. The accounts, Amazonians have gone really. In fact, there is an energy of excitement. Madam Speaker, as you talk now to give your last statement to the public, I want you, perhaps you want to inspire people, the effort you're making with your household to donate this year, and in terms of quality and quantity, what you're giving, and how Amazonians can not just draft, but they will redeem their draft, and why everyone must give so big. Thank you very much. The floor is all yours.
Thank you, Paddy. Thank you, Ambazonia. I just want to encourage everyone to come out in your numbers and with your wallets and your purses. Don't leave them at home. Come out. You're coming out, whether it's on Zoom or you're coming out on ABC, bring them, open them, be generous at heart because it is our generosity. We may pay with a few dollars, whether you may call it thousands, but it's a few dollars compared to the lives of those that are bleeding on the ground, that are maimed on the at home front. So I need all of you. Paddy was asking me how much I'm going to give. I'm drafted in two LGAs that I rightfully belong to, plus my husband is drafting. And so just between the two of us and plus all what we are going to be putting in the stabilization fund basket, we've already exceeded 3,000. We're already at 3,000 something, almost 3,000. By the end of draft, I will not be surprised. We will be higher up there in other thousands of dollars by the time we support all the other counties and other projects. So it will not be surprising. I mean, this is just draft. It doesn't talk about our other donations. And I hate to come and brag about how much I'm doing. That's not me, but I want, because somebody may say, hey, Madam Speaker, you can do that, you can do that, you can do that, but I don't have that kind of a money. Please, I'm also speaking. Ma talk now for we country talk. Some of we get we mommy them and we papa the way they deal with we, where they stay with we for diaspora. And many for plenty for them, they not feel work or they don't reach for age where they not feel work. But they get some their small thing for hand where they want contribute. More not deny them, more take them. And if they find way and they don't know how to get that money, hey, we go put Paddy go put number for up. Una take and una call, talk how they go fit give they send the money. Somebody who can get them from you because some parents them they and some other people, not be only parents, where they struggle but they don't know how to do all this thing the way they do and what they call and say electronic banking. They know that the old way where you go for bank, write paper, they give you money. If you don't know you get problems with that, or you hold the money for your hand, call we. Call. Paddy go find the right person where it go connect you with, and they go can send person where go pick up the money and they go put them. And just remember, say, we want to know which LGA you come up from or county. As I be talking at Christmas, we continue with this Christmas. New Year they come. You know, so after Christmas, we dey get New Year party. We do New Year celebration. So New Year too they come. And the New Year na say they go start the go resource mobilization to go through county by county and bring them so that we all together. More just remember, it dey like Nandamu. Ma we know it will be Ndamu. Born house. We dey for born house. Now new born house. The interim government don't get new born house 2022 draft. Now new born house, new baby there for house, and that baby the kick strong. And so we'll continue. I'm gonna put we hand together where play where your hand not fit support, may your energy support. Play where your hand not fit give move something for pocket, may your cocoa for farm, may you give 'em. May your plantain where you cut them, may you give 'em. May your pear where they harvest them for backside, may you give them. May your small bottle oil where you be go mash banga, may you give them. So I want to encourage everyone. Thank una so una be the watch. Thank una so una listen. Just like when they talk, so they put up for screen say, make people for bui, me they be careful. So as when they talk, so people they for bui and they go be careful. Me with other brothers and two other than the one they from Gokutunja or the one they were they from Donga Mantum Pondu. Me they also ready for help and no say maybe they will need for back up with other brothers and way they day for bui where they under is a high alert security at this moment. So when I keep together. Somebody be talk something about some kind of warrior unity, what. I be don't talk about that one. Your brother, now the brother way you and you na the go boya, and we in no say he had day for the right direction. Not be man way he had day now for try say man do the thing because some man for diaspora be talk say man kill my brother. That's not your brother. That's not your brother. Your brother not the one way they support you. And Remember, ARFs, thank una for the work una do. Thank una. We just want thank una. But we also want tell una so una get two duty. Protect civilian, push out La Republic. Now una two work that una get. However, they strategize una defense people go tell una how una go about that, but una get two work. Protect with civilians, push out La Republic. Thank una.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker of the House. Thank you very much, fellow Amazonians, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, stakeholders and all donors. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You made it possible. You started like joke. Even before Anus made his pre-postorial statement provoking Amazonians, a man who has never drafted, coming out to tell you not to draft. You were provoked in your spirit, and your provocation was translated into donations. You translated it, you gave 1, 2, 3, 4. And as we kept on counting and counting and counting for 4 hours, by 2 a.m., on the 5th of June 2022. That was Sunday morning in the early hours, while some Amazonians at the home front were still awake waiting to listen to you before the president of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, an amount was announced. Almost $500,000 US, a commitment by the peace-believing people, the people who have been freed from slavery, from mental slavery, who believe that it is their right to have their own land. They made a statement. They spoke to the international community and they said they are free. And they are free indeed. And then they have not stopped. Some said this is just the tip of an iceberg. This is just the teaser. This is just the beginning. Amazonians, you have told the world that you are willing to have your own nation. And your voices have been spoken loud and clear like never before. Forget about some activists who have been announced, like a certain guy, I think in Denmark or Sweden, he calls himself Prince Jacob. He's trying to tell you that some individuals in the government might have invested in Bitcoin. Tell him to shut up. And that if he is confident with his statement, he has a challenge. Let him document it, notarize it, and prove it to Amazonians. Until then, let him shut up. Tell Mr. Anus that he should show you his receipt for any draft. After then, or until then, he has the right to speak. And if he doesn't, let him shut his large mouth up. If he has no evidence of all the claims that he's making, tell him to shut his mouth up. When next he comes on air, tells him that I have a challenge for him. If he must use the word Bitcoin, Bitcoiner, and there's this other guy, Mike Fool. Is it Mike Pussy? Mike Pussy Fool. You know his name. I think yeah, he's Mike Fool, and he's really fool, trying to tell you that Bitcoin is going down, and some people are crying because of investment. Tell him, Mike Fool, if he wants to have full remote from his name, let him do everything. If he has not been honest, let him do what is possible, document his claim he's in the United States of America, notarize it, and prove to you that he is sure that he is just not another demented Confucianist. He's still a very young man, I'm sure in his 40s. I'm not sure if he's in his 50s, but he is now behaving like someone that is demented. And that if he's confident in himself, let him notarize it. And then we can take it from there. But if he's unwilling to notarize it, then you tell him to shut his big, empty, stinky mouth up. Now, they are trying to, they call it ARU, what fee or whatever. Please, Amazonians, let me tell you something. If you make the error, what they want to do is to pay for attorneys to defend them. Perhaps you may want to sympathize to fund their defense. But how long? In a case that the chances are very high, the probability for them to lose is at least 99 by 9.9.9. Why do I say so? When you get into an account that does not belong to you in the United States of America and you illegally make withdrawal, it is known as wire fraud, and that is felony. It is a federal crime. It is tantamount to imprisonment to whatsoever form of judgment. It's infringement of law for you to take another corporation's property to start your business. Mr. Ernest Gertrude Kisop and Gertrude Kisop manipulated the ABT Amber TV board to pay for him rent for 3 months. That is how he started. The broke Ernest, after having been Ernest and Ernest, a lot of people, they went with him into the ghetto in wait of evidence. Today, there is no evidence. Ernest, after having been disgraced, now wants you to think that the figures that we are running with on the social media is propaganda. And I say, yes, Mr. Ernest, it is propaganda. The same propaganda that raised 135,000 US dollars for you to swindle. Yes, Ernest, it is propaganda. The propaganda that has given to Oliver, your brother, plantations in Lebialem. Yes, Ernest, it is propaganda. The same propaganda that paid for your legal fees when Satellite was about picking you to beat you up like a rat. Yes, Ernest, it is propaganda. The same propaganda that has in saving hard currency about 200,000 US dollars, and you have honest some individuals to think that they can hijack the money. Yes, honest, it is propaganda. The same propaganda that will beat Cameroon out of Amazonia. The same propaganda that popped cons in the hills of Sapga. The same propaganda that gave to Oliver the chance to be Lefang. Yes, Anus, this is the propaganda statement, the right propaganda statement we have made to the international community. And on that note, I would say it's been Tarh Paddy King. Until tomorrow with Dr. Mungwa at 9 p.m. Amber time. I want to tell you it's good night. See you then. Bye-bye.
The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with undaunted ABC Amber News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution on Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amber TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
to inform the misinformed and disinformed with Undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing it to the news untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amber TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the importance of storytelling can never be overemphasized, Ambazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Ambazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambertv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a club member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team. The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age, and not with undaunted ABC Amber News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution and Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, and 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is, we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amber TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
to inform the misinformed and disinformed with undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing it to the news untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amber TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the importance of storytelling can never be overemphasized, Ambazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Ambazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambertv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a club member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team. The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age, and not with undaunted ABC Amber News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution and Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amber TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
to inform the misinformed and disinformed with undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing it to the news untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amber TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the importance of storytelling can never be overemphasized, Ambazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Ambazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambertv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a club member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team.